In this video, I'm going to be discussing the 10 cheapest places to live in Florida. And because of the 10 cheapest places, they may not be some place you want to live. But on the other hand, it could totally depend on what you're looking for. Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you so desire. All right, here we go. Just as I promised you, the 10 cheapest places to live in Florida. Okay, I'm going to give you the 10 cheapest places to live. Here's the deal. The first two I'm going to give you two together. The reason I'm going to give you two together is because they're only like 15 minutes apart. One of them is Avon Park, Florida, and the other one is Sebring, Florida. They're located just about dead center of the state. I mean, like you drive an hour and a half to the east, an hour and a half to the west, and you're at the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, it's dead in the middle, and there ain't much out there. I'd say there's some farmland or like ugly land, but there's not a lot of pretty land out there, but you're not all that far away from civilization. I mean, you could be in the Tampa market, probably about an hour or so. You can be over in Orlando in an hour or so. But you're dead in the middle of the state. And those two towns, they're like 15 minutes apart. So you've got Sebring, Florida here, and you got Avon Park, Florida here. You know, it's an inexpensive place to live. You can probably find a nice house there for $150,000, a really nice house for $250,000, right? But those would be two of the 10. Now I'm going to give you number 3 here in just a second, so hang on, don't go anywhere. Okay, before I give you number 3, I want to point something out to you. I'm not necessarily giving you these in a list. So number 1 and 2 doesn't mean they're the first and second cheapest. It's just the 10 cheapest places to live. The third cheapest place, not the cheapest, but the third on my list place to live in Florida is Palm Coast. Palm Coast, Florida is kind of between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach. And it's right on the east coast of Florida, right on the Atlantic Ocean. You know, it's a pretty desirable area, and I'm surprised that it actually made the list. It's a little bit rural through there, a little bit not as populated, but Palm Coast has about 100,000 people, so you could probably get a pretty decent home there. The average selling price there is probably $250,000 to $300,000. So, you know, if you're looking for a really great place to live and you're gonna be close to the ocean, Palm Coast is an inexpensive place to live, and it might be a place you want to consider if you're going to move to Florida. Okay, number 4 on my list is a bit of a surprise. It's a very pleasant surprise. It's Leesburg, Florida. Yeah, Leesburg. If you're not familiar with it, Leesburg is kind of, it's northwest of Orlando, maybe an hour and a half or so from Orlando. It's in the middle part of the state as well, and it's just just southeast of the Villages. So I mean, if you like all that activity at the Villages and you want to go there and hang out, you're not far away in Leesburg. So Leesburg, it's only got a population itself of about 25,000 people or so. So it'd be a pretty cool place to live, and the housing is really reasonable there. So that the fourth, not the fourth cheapest, but the fourth on my list. The fourth on my list is Leesburg, Florida, more or less located kind of in the center of the state, kind of northwest of Orlando. I think you'd like Leesburg. It's a cool place. Oh, and one other thing about Leesburg. Leesburg has a ton of lakes there. So if you like that type of boating and maybe bass fishing or something like that, I don't know if they have bass there or not, but if you like that type of fishing, Leesburg, again, might be the place for you. Number 5 on my list is Inverness. Inverness is like north of Tampa, heading on up the Crystal River up that way as you go head north. It actually sits between I-75 and the Gulf of Mexico. It's a little bit rural out there, population about 10,000 people. Not a whole lot out there, to be candid with you, but it's not far from the Gulf of Mexico. So if you like fishing and water sports and that sort of thing, you're not far from that at all. So it's a pretty good location. It's fairly central. You're probably an hour or so from the Tampa market and Tampa airport. So it's not a bad location at all, and it's really pretty darn inexpensive to live there. So 5th on my list is Inverness, and I think I said that right. But 6 on my list of the 10 cheapest places to live is Seffner, or Seffner, I think we would call it. It's a pretty cool place. It's only, it's just west of Tampa before you get to Plant City, heading towards the east. But it's just east of Tampa. We'll get that straight. Just east of Tampa, right? And it's probably no more than 40 minutes or so from downtown Tampa, if that. population, probably 9,000 people or so. I mean, a lot of people think of that as like a suburb of Tampa. But it's an inexpensive place to live. So if you want to be close to Tampa and be in the heartbeat of what's going on in the state of Florida, Seffner would be a great place for you to consider. Number 7 on my list is Palatka. It's kind of a sexy name, isn't it? Palatka. Palatka is number 7 on my list. Palatka is a pretty good location. It's located just east of Gainesville, maybe 25 or 30 minutes or so from the Atlantic Ocean. It's not that far away from the beachland sort of area, maybe 10,000 people. You notice most of these places that are inexpensive live have a population of around 10,000 people. So it's kind of in the middle of between, if you're going north and south, between like Jacksonville and maybe Daytona Beach. It's kind of tucked in that part there. So if you're coming south from Jacksonville, it doesn't take that long to get there. But Palatka may be a place to consider. Not a whole lot there, 10,000 people, but you're in a pretty good proximity to get around whatever you might want to be getting around. And so Palatka is number 7 on my list. Number 8, number 8 on my list is Live Oak, better known as Dead Oak, because there ain't nothing there. Now, I'm just kidding you about the Dead Oak part. Live Oak is located kind of between Tallahassee, Florida, and Jacksonville, Florida on I-10. There really ain't a lot in Live Oak. I mean, I've been there, and it's a nice little town. It really is a nice little town. Obviously, it's got a population of around 7,000 people. It's another one of those small populations, but that's why it's not too expensive to live there. And it's a little bit of a drive to get over to Jacksonville, and a little longer drive even to get to Tallahassee. So if you want to go to one of those two places, if you travel a lot, Jacksonville's got a great airport to fly out of. So you're not that far from Jacksonville. But Live Oak is number 8 on my list of 10 not so expensive places to live in Florida. Number 9 on my list is Bartow, Florida. And I got to tell you, there's a lot to like about Bartow, Florida. Bartow is just south of Lakeland, Florida, not that far from Tampa. You got kind of a mix there of a rural area and a little bit of a feel for, I wouldn't say you call it city life, but it just feels a little more urban in some of these other places. Population about 20,000 people. It's a pretty good place to live, again, because of the proximity to Tampa. Again, if you fly and travel a lot, the Tampa airport's probably the best airport in the country to fly in and out of, so you're not far from that. But number 9 on my list of the 10 cheapest places to live in Florida is Bartow, Florida, and it's not that far from Lakeland, and it's not that far from Tampa. Bartow, Florida, number 9 on my list. Okay, before I give you number 10 on my list, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment at the bottom. And after I give you number 10, I'm going to tell you where I think the absolute best place, not just based on cost, based on lifestyle, and all the absolute best place to live in Florida. So here's number 10, and number 10 is Lake Wales, Florida. Lake Wales, Florida is not too far from Winter Haven, Florida. It's kind of, I would say it's southeast of Lakeland, not too terribly far from Orlando. You could probably be in the Orlando airport in an hour 15 minutes max. So it's right there in the central part of the state. It's really a great place to live because it's so convenient to so many things. Okay, so that would be number 10. It's Lake Wales, Florida. Population probably around about 20,000 or so. Okay, now, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, the best place to live in Florida, when you take all things in consideration, if you take outdoor activities, you take culture, you put that in, you take housing costs, would absolutely, without a doubt, be St. Petersburg, Florida, which is where I happen to be a realtor at. But not because I'm a realtor there. It's just a great place to live. I've been all over the state. I've seen a lot of things. But if you think about moving to Florida, think about moving to St. Petersburg, Florida. Or you can move to one of those 10 cheapest places I just gave you. And it's not that expensive, again, to live in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm Tommy Gibbs. I'm a Global Lifestyle Realty. Hey, hit me up if I can be of help to you. And thanks for taking a watch of this video. Does that make any sense? Thanks for watching this video.